Isn't it ironic that all the Venezuelan people I know that live outside and also inside Venezuela are celebrating, but what I've been seeing recently just now is people that have never experienced what it is to live in Venezuela are criticizing what has happened. Someone needs to explain that to me.
Okay, as a Venezuelan American, I got some shit to say. My family, my parents, my sister, my extended family, all lost everything. Their work, their savings, their investments, gone. Wiped out by a narco dictatorship that has held Venezuela in a death grip for over 25 years. And what happened to my family has happened to millions, and yes, millions. The Venezuelan exodus is the second largest displacement crisis on earth after Syria. This is not just a tragedy. It is one of the great humanitarian disasters of our time. But the suffering doesn't end there. This regime has jailed hundreds of political prisoners. Thousands have been murdered simply for speaking out. More than a third of the population has fled. 1/3. Not for better opportunities or for the American dream, but to survive, to live, because staying often means death. And while the world may see Venezuela as a collapsed state, what it is in reality is an occupied one. Our territory, our natural resources, and our institutions have been overrun by hostile foreign powers. Iranian militias, Chinese corporations, Russian intelligence, all exploiting our country with impunity. Venezuela is no longer just a local crisis. It is now a geopolitical threat that endangers the entire Western Hemisphere. It has become a launch pad for an authoritarian expansion in the Americas. And in the midst of all of this, one woman has dared to lead the charge for freedom. Maria Corina Machado. In 2024, against every odd, she led a peaceful democratic uprising that won the election. Her team smuggled physical voting receipts out of the country, hard proof of victory that the regime tried to bury. Her courage has lit a fire in the hearts of millions of Venezuelans desperate to believe that change is still possible. But now some have questioned her decision to dedicate her Nobel Prize to Donald Trump. Okay, I get that. But here's the truth. It was a brilliant strategic move in the global chessboard of politics. Maria Corina is no fool. She knows exactly the kind of man Trump is. She knows how much he campaigned for it, loudly and relentlessly, to win that very same prize. She knows how symbolic and personal that recognition is to him. And precisely because of that, she understood that this gesture might be the thing that keeps his attention focused on Venezuela at a time when U.S. presence and pressure in the Caribbean is rising. She didn't dedicate that award to flatter him. She did it to protect and preserve the one kind of power that could help shift the course of history. Because for her, this isn't about pride. It's not about optics. It's about freedom. And let's be very clear. Maria Corina is not asking for the U.S. to invade Venezuela. She's not campaigning for war. Venezuela is already invaded. It is held hostage by a narco state, overrun by foreign agents and enemies of democracy, Russians, Iranians, Chinese, all operating freely, weaponizing our land and resources to expand their influence across Latin America. What Maria Corina is calling for, what millions of Venezuelans are praying for, is the support of the only military on earth capable of countering that threat and helping to free our people. This is not imperialism. This is liberation. She's not playing partisan games. She's playing for Venezuela's life. Because this isn't theoretical. This isn't academic. This is life or death. So yes, it is time to honor her bravery, but more importantly, it is time for the world, especially the free world, to recognize what's at stake. The fight for Venezuela is a fight for freedom, for democracy, and for the stability of an entire continent. If we truly care about liberty, human dignity, and peace in the Americas, then Venezuela's fight must matter to all of us. Que viva Venezuela, que viva María Corina Machado.
You want to know what I find crazy about what happened in Venezuela this morning? That more Democrats in the United States support Nicolás Maduro than Venezuelans in Venezuela. While Democrats are crying that he didn't ask Congress and he didn't do this and we're in support of Venezuela. No, you're not. Because little do you know that this is what Venezuela is doing right now in celebration of what took place. I don't know about you, but none of that looks like they're upset. On the contrary, they've never been happier. So why is it that the false narrative on the left is condemning Donald Trump's actions, yet the people from Venezuela are applauding his actions? I don't care what any Democrat is saying about what happened today. What matters to me is what are the people from that nation saying about what's happening today? Because what they're saying, what they've lived through, what they've been experiencing ever since Maduro came into power and refused to leave it, those are the voices that I want to hear. I don't want to hear anybody with the blue shirt on telling me what they think is wrong and what they think is good. They can't even define what a woman is, let alone dictate what the United States should and shouldn't do.
As a Venezuelan living in the U.S., the only thing that I can do is talk about the truth of what I experience in my own country, part of the reason why I ended up leaving, and what is true, what is happening that most people don't even know. This isn't about being pro-Trump or anti-Trump or Republican or Democrat. It's not about that. It's about the reality of what we've been dealing with under a dictatorship, a regime that has been a narco-terrorist dictatorship, essentially, that has done so many horrible things. And listen, if I'm going to be honest with you, if I were an American citizen not knowing anything about what's happening in Venezuela, I would understand their nervousness that people feel under what's going on with Trump. However, as a Venezuelan citizen who does know what's happening, I feel like, please come and help, because this is out of our hands. A lot of people have asked me, but why haven't the Venezuelan people protested? Why aren't they in the streets trying to overthrow the government? The reality is that we've spent the last 26 years protesting in the streets and voting and doing everything that is in our hands to overthrow these people and gain control of the country again. But just to give you one small example, last year after the elections, which the opposition won and they had the ballots to prove that they won, in 24 hours, almost 3,000 people were put in prison, including people that defended those ballots and that made copies of those ballots to prove that they had won. These people, some of them, nobody knows even anything about where they are. Others are basically in torture centers in Venezuela, and they don't have rights to a lawyer or anybody. Like, they're just thrown in jail. Even posting like messages or sending each other messages through WhatsApp, through private messages on your phone, is enough to land you in prison right now. So voting or taking the streets is not as simple. We've done that thousands and thousands of times over almost 30 years. The only way to bring these people down and to recover democracy and to recover justice and prosperity and peace is to have somebody else end this war. The war already started years ago. What we need is external force to help us end it. ultimately, I don't know where this is going to end. I have no clue what's going to happen in Venezuela right now and where Trump is going to take this. But of course, I'm in favor of something ending this situation, or somebody ending this situation, because the pain that it has caused is beyond what I could even describe here. So I will continue sharing what I've seen in my country and what's going on, because most of the media isn't sharing the whole truth.
So the Democrats are already starting their complaint party about the president Maduro being removed from office. We've captured another president from a different country. What kind of country are we? How could we do such a thing? Well, the truth is Maduro is behind a lot of drugs coming into our country. He's behind a lot of American fatalities. He's behind a lot of crime and corruption that takes place in America. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the Venezuelan people are right now currently celebrating in the streets. They are crying. They are waking up this morning realizing that they no longer have to be under a dictatorship like him. They're realizing that socialism, it didn't work for them a long time ago, and it's not going to work for them now. And guess what? They just woke up and they are free. They are realizing what it's like to be free as can be. They're taking a fresh breath. And guess what? The truth is that President Trump already knew exactly who's going to take over. And that's not an issue. You just wait, because guess what? There will be someone implanted. But the most important thing you have to understand is that the Democratic Party, when it comes to politics, they do not care about Americans. You see, they will defend a dictator like Maduro. They will defend other dictators in other countries. They will defend anybody who decides that they like this president. And that is just how sick they are. They are willing to destroy America, all because they hate Trump. And why do they hate Trump? They hate Trump because he's successful. They hate Trump because he's smarter. He has more wisdom. They hate Trump because he understands the real estate market. He understands oil. He knows how to work with people instead of robbing people. They hate Trump because he's not taking a paycheck. They hate Trump because he was tried to be assassinated multiple times, but yet he got back up and he pumped his fist for the American people and said, let's go. They hate Trump because they have nothing to hate him for. At the end of the day, they have nothing to hate him for. They should be loving him. We should all be happy that we have a president that actually cares about the lives of Americans, but they have to go ahead and manufacture things in the media day by day. They have to manufacture things every single day. And the truth is we have a Democratic Party, we have a Republican Party, and guess what? The Democratic Party does not do anything for the American people anymore. All they do is they complain about Trump. They have not done shit for years. And that is just how pathetic they are.
Y'all, Trump did not start a war. He enforced the war. This man dropped bombs at 2 a.m. He captured the president and his wife at 3 a.m. He had a press conference at Mar-a-Lago at 11 a.m. And he was running Venezuela by 12 p.m. That's what you call a boss, baby. Y'all can say what y'all want, but Donald Trump is really him. If that man do not go down as the greatest president of all times, then something is fucking wrong. That man has officially been in office this month a year, and what he has done in the last year is way more than all of the fucking presidents have done all together. Do you hear me? That man has been standing on business, and he is putting America in a position where we is getting our fucking respect back, and nobody is going to play with us. Now, let me just say this. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I am going to admit it. A lot of stuff that Donald Trump do initially, I do not agree with it. Okay, his decisions make me nervous as hell. But once I sit back, take a deep breath, and I trust the process, and I trust my president like I should, I promise y'all, everything always turns out for the best. Venezuela is happy. American is happy. Some people feel like it's for the oil, but as long as the people is happy and the people are good, a win is a win, y'all. That man got so many W's under his belt right now, under this one presidency. Him.
Let me put it to you like this. Donald Trump stepping in to take control of Venezuela and its oil industry is the best thing that could happen to Venezuela right now. Yeah, I said it, and if it bothers you, it's because you don't know your history. Venezuela didn't magically become an oil powerhouse. In the early 1900s, American companies helped build that industry from the ground up. It was the American equipment, engineers, refineries, and pipelines. That partnership is what made Venezuela one of the richest countries in Latin America. When people had jobs, they had a strong middle class and the country worked. Then Venezuela had the bright idea to turn to socialism. The government took over the oil industry, and when Chavez came along, he pushed Cuba-style communism and forced U.S. companies out. And that's when everything fell apart. The oil production dropped, the money dried up, corruption took over, and people couldn't afford food, hospitals couldn't have medicine, lights went out again and again. Millions of Venezuelans were forced to flee just to survive. And for families who lost loved ones, lost years of their lives, were torn apart by this regime, this moment brings something that they haven't had in a long time, a little bit of hope. So don't tell me America wants to steal Venezuela's oil. America already helped build that industry, and Venezuela was wealthy because of it. What destroyed Venezuela was not the United States. It was communism, corruption, and cartels. Thank you, President Trump, that Venezuela has a real chance to recover and the U.S. can be the biggest buyer and investor and partner that they could ever dream of. That is not exploitation. That is a second chance.